Yo, what's going on? Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today's live stream, and I'm really sorry that I'm running late. Music's a little loud. Yeah, I'm not feeling too good today, guys, but we are going to be making sure that we're live anyway for the Lord. Making sure that we are, let's go to the camera. Let's make sure, hold on, let me fix the camera, guys, because I'm literally running so behind right now. I gotta launch the Link 360 controller so that you guys can see me instead of just my hands. And my dirty carpet that my kids continue to make sure is dirty all the time. Let's go up here. There we go. Now we can just track. All right, that works. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, I am running a little bit behind. I wonder if we could just add something here to TikTok Live Studio. I can't reapply on Restream for another day, which is fine. At least I saw that we're able to apply after another day. And then we did our stream yesterday, and it showed it was good. So thank God for that. Yeah, I don't know what to add as far as... Oh, you know what, too? I gotta fix my microphone stuff on... I saw yesterday's TikTok replay, and it was not... it was not what I wanted it to be. Scene, record hotkeys, advanced audio settings, default. What? It's supposed to be line in. What? Where do you find your microphone stuff here, man? Settings, enhance with effects. Audio mixer, primary mic. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. It has it as the camera, and I don't know why. No, not the Insta360 line in. Here we go. That's what we needed, because before it was using the I apologize for that yesterday too, guys. It was using the microphone for the camera, and that we all know that sounds absolutely abysmal. So when you guys were hearing me on TikTok, there was no game sound, there was no nothing, and God forbid somebody would have called in, you guys wouldn't have heard it. So that would have not been good. But happy Easter to everyone. God bless you. God bless you, brother Mike. Thank you for being here. Hello, brother Maverick, my fellow brothers. Happy Easter to you, my brother. God bless you, and thank you so much for being here. We are good to go. Let's start off with today's Bible verse, guys. Let's go ahead and go to the live screens. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? That's from 1 Corinthians 15, verse 55. The thoughts on that is that death has the power to end our physical human lives in this world. Death has the power to separate our loved ones from us in this world. Death also has the power to discourage and defeat us. But we know the truth. Jesus lives victoriously over death. Because he lives, we know we will live with him. We believe that his victory over death is our victory over death. So like Jesus, we mock death and its power ultimately to destroy us. Jesus has destroyed death and brought immortality to life in us through the gospel. So we join the angels of heaven at Jesus' resurrection and mock death. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? We've triumphed over death in Jesus' resurrection power. Here's a prayer. You guys are welcome to pray with me. If you want to pray with me, let's go ahead and hit it. Father, I confess that the death of those I love still hurts me. I thank you that my separation from them will only be for a short time. I thank you, however, that death doesn't separate me for long from those that I love and who love you. Thank you for giving me this victory, this assurance in Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for defeating death. I pray in your precious and triumphant name, Jesus Christ, my Savior and Lord. Amen. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in on the prayer. Making sure everything's good on Rumble. Everything does look good on Rumble. Everything looks good. I assume on Trovo. I don't even know. You know what? I gotta edit that title. I guess I will. It's whatever. I'm thinking about getting rid of that. Trovo is not really. I don't know that it's going anywhere, guys. And this isn't about human notoriety. It's about choosing a platform where people do have a chance to hear the word. And I don't know that Trovo is it. So. But we are live. Let me see something that I did. These better have connected. These better have connected. Because I know I picked them. Okay, yeah, they are connected. It's just, oh, okay. It was just a widget up there, and OBS Studio was acting crazy. So it is. That's nothing unheard of. If you want to call in, guys, if you want to discuss the Bible, anybody's welcome to call in. If you want to call in and debate the Bible, here on this happy Easter, I will happily, in Jesus, in the memory of his resurrection, I will happily address those and happily introduce those refutations to the atheist mindset. Want to talk a lot too. I wanted to talk about my buddy Clary from yesterday. Yesterday, Clary called in, guys. And thank you to everybody who's joining on TikTok. I really do appreciate you guys. I wanted to talk to you guys about Clary because Clary is a guy that I'm trying to pick TikTok. Okay, let's just do all because it wasn't letting me pick just TikTok. Clary was a guy that I knew a long time ago. And the reason I'm talking about this is because my wife and I were talking about, we were having a conversation earlier that she was, she made a comment about, she was having a conversation with my daughter and they were talking about some WWE event that my wife said something to the effect of, yeah, I saw that a lot of people were watching. And my daughter was like, what do you, how do you know, like, what people were watching, right? And then I guess the entire conversation came down to, like, in making the insinuation that my wife doesn't have friends or something like that. I mean, she wasn't being serious, obviously, but it was hilarious because my wife was like, yeah, I know I don't have friends like you guys do. And I told my wife, I was like, the thing about that is that people use that word a little too loosely, right? They use that word very, very flippantly. Like, the thing about friends is that friends show themselves through their actions, right? And you can't just call somebody your friend right off the bat like that. Like, it's all about, how have they shown themselves to be your friend? How have you shown yourself to be their friend, right? Stuff like that. Clary, one of the guys who asked for prayer yesterday, is one of those guys. Like, he legit was a friend. He was more helpful to me than my own father was when my daughter needed milk and she didn't have any, and my father didn't care that his granddaughter didn't have milk. Clary cared. He knew that we didn't have anything. He knew that I was struggling. I had been laid off. We're freaking out. Where am I going to get money? Where am I going to get diapers? Where am I going to get... I was making so little money at the time that we did have government assistance, so thank God for that. So we were able to get it, but a lot of times we weren't even able to get there because we didn't even have a functioning vehicle. You know what I mean? So to me, it was a lot of people who, besides my mother and father-in-law, who really did show that no matter what was going on between them and my wife or myself, whatever, they always showed that they loved my kids regardless of what the situation was, which that's why, and I don't do this for a pat on the back, I do it because I feel it's the right thing to do. Like, regardless of what I'm doing, when my mother-in-law needs something, she's old school. She doesn't necessarily always know how to do things. So she'll be like, can you help me with this, whatever? I'll stop what I'm doing, which is 99% of the time something I can't stop doing, and I will help her do it because that's, anybody who's been ever willing to help my kids like that and do even spend their life. I don't remember what it was. We needed something. And I think it was food. I don't know what it was. Diapers. I don't know what it was. But my mother-in-law didn't even have money yet. She hadn't gotten paid. And she took... Where is this guy? She had a jar that was full of change that she'd been saving for years. And she told me to go with her so that we can go into her car and go to the Jewel, so that she could exchange it for money so that she could give it to us so that we can get diapers for my daughter. Again, not something my dad ever did. Not even close. But there was one time, I will give credit where credit is due. There was one time where we really did have an issue, and my dad helped me out. And it was when someone stole... My wife and I were in a laundromat doing laundry, and someone stole my jacket while we were folding and washing clothes. and my car keys were in there, and we didn't have a way to get it because those fobs are very expensive, and we had to have a keysmith come out, and my dad paid for us to get out. So, you know, I'm not gonna say that he, you know, never did anything, for sure, but the ones who have been there without fail, without excuse, without anything, without any reason, or, you know, any reasoning to say, hey, I'm not gonna be there, or I can't do it, you know, I'm sorry the baby doesn't have milk, but, you know, that I can't do it because I got to go to X, Y, and Z. I got to go to a church. You know, now that was, to me, what was more ironic. Okay, you can't give me a ride to get your granddaughter some milk because you got to go to a church, you know, a Bible study. All right, cool, whatever. So why do I tell you guys all this? Well, Clary, the guy who requested prayer on TikTok yesterday, was that guy. Clary and I worked security together in a hospital where I was a lot younger and I was just fresh out of the army. And Clary was one of those people that was very physically able, but he was very weary of people, right? And at the time, I didn't understand why. I was like, why is this guy and you know what? I will be very fully transparent. At the time, I was telling people, not telling people, I was telling myself, it's like, why would a guy like this, who is obviously capable of defending himself and enforcing policy and dealing with violence, why is he so afraid? But it wasn't because he was afraid of people. It took me experience, and it took a lot of hard knocks throughout the rest of my career, security and otherwise, to realize that it wasn't the people that he was afraid of as far as a conflict. It was the people who sit there and pretend to be your friend, right? And they'll call you for help. They'll call from the emergency room. Oh, this guy's beating me up, whatever. But if you tune this guy up a little bit too hard, guess what? They'll report you like if you're the one who was beating up the nurse, right? So the guy taught me a lot. Even if he doesn't realize it, he taught me a lot about caution. He taught me a lot about humility, right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. I remember when I sent him a picture one time when I had finally transitioned from security to my current field, and the only thing he said to me was, it's a lot of responsibility, brother, so just please be careful, you know. And not because he was trying to be pessimistic, not because of anything else, but because he had been around the block enough to know, you know, what he was talking about. And I can tell you one thing about Clary is that the dude knew what he was talking about. And even though they weren't rich, even though they didn't have, you know, they didn't have mansions or nothing like that, when my own father wouldn't give me a ride to get milk for my daughter, he showed up and gave me $100 just like that, and told me straight out, I don't want this back, I just want you to feed the baby. That was what he said, you know. And that was his only ask for that entire situation, you know. Imagine you know, not having very much, but still showing up with $100 to make sure that your buddy from work, that's a true friend, you know. Now, and I'm sorry guys, my voice is very hoarse. I have tons of compression on my chest. I know there's probably not gonna be a lot of people here because it's Easter, but God bless you guys for being here, whoever is here. The fact of the matter is that there are people who you don't even have to ask, right? And I'm sure they've been in those situations, and they're very quick to help people because they know what it's like to not have help, right? Clary's one of those people. Clary is the person who will give you the clothes off of his back if he needs to. And I never forgot that. That's why I said what I said yesterday. But I didn't tell this story because I didn't want to embarrass him, and I didn't want to make it seem like he did it for that, because we'd never spoken about it. I'd never reached out to him. But you know, whether he does see this or not, or I directly reach out to him and tell him later on, you know, that I never forgot that. And I don't know if he heard me say it yesterday, but I never did forget it, and nor did my wife. My wife till this day talks about that, about how people are so quick to call themselves your friend, but never are really, not because to be a friend you should be willing to give money or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you are finding somebody in need, it's crazy because a lot of times you'll see that there are people who are share DNA with you that claim that they're your family or whatever, and they share, you know, and that they demand respect because I'm your father and this and that. But they've done very little in their lives to earn that respect, right? They've done very little in their lives to show that they care the way that they expect you to care. That to me has always been something that I've always struggled with, because I never cared that much for the hypocrisy of the way that people act. Give me a second, guys. Viva Medici, yeah. Oh, here we go. It popped right up. Good. It looks good too. I'm glad you. I thank you guys for being here for sure. Yeah, I've never been one who deals well with hypocrisy, right? And not because I don't love anyone. I don't hate anyone. I can tell you that. But I have a very, very little regard for people who. Yeah, you ain't making it to the fight, though. For people who act one way and say one thing, and then but their actions show something completely different, and that to me is one of the biggest reasons why I didn't really get along with my dad. Like my mom, to be honest with you, I kind of respected more, not because what she did was okay, but at least my mom was in your face about who she was, and she didn't care. It was like, listen, this is who I am. You might not like it, but she wasn't gonna hide it. So props to her for that. I could tell you props to my mom for always being like, you know what, it is what it is. I know that you're gonna disagree with me, but I don't need you to agree with me for you to do what I want. But Clary's that kind of guy. Clary had a lot of problems. You know, Clary, he never brought him to work. He always wanted to show people the ropes who are willing to learn them. He always wanted to look out for people. He was a very good mentor. And it was a shame to me that he did something that, you know, people, again, who share DNA with me wouldn't do, like my father, right? And you know what? I remember when we were struggling real bad, and I don't get embarrassed to tell you guys, because anybody who ever says, "Oh no, you never struggle," you're not being truthful at all. But I remember my mom, even living on a fixed income and disability and everything that she was on, she was actually more helpful when I don't remember what it was that we needed, because I remember that summer that I lost my job, when I got laid off, man. It was between that time of getting laid off and not having been approved for unemployment. That was a tough month or two, man. Like my wife and I were struggling so bad that we didn't even know where the next dollar was going to come from, you know. Brother Mike says there's a difference between a friend and an acquaintance. Amen. Amen and amen, man. And that is so true. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that difference, right? A lot of people are very quick to call someone a friend, but don't really know that distinction, right? And that to me is dangerous, because that's how so many people end up getting taken advantage of. Why these guys just start shooting at me? You know, people take advantage of you, and then, you know, and then they look at you, and they're very good too. But that's the one thing that I hate more than people who take advantage, is people who take advantage and are professionals at making themselves the victim on top of that, you know, and they're very good at it because that's all they ever do. But absolutely, brother Mike, there's a huge difference between a friend and an acquaintance, right? And I come from a profession where you would think that everybody you work with would be your friend, and nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth, because most people in the agency that I used to work for over a decade, most people would rather slit your throat than to see you get credit for anything. And anything you do was always an issue, right? The amount of jealousy and the amount of hypocrisy was ridiculous. And I saw that. My father told me that my whole life growing up. My whole life, he was always like, be careful, man. Be careful, because the people who you think are backing you up, they're not. They're not your friend. They're not your friend. They're going to be the first ones to talk crap. And he was right. He was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. And it just goes to show that it's not a generational thing at all. It's 100% about jealousy. It's about inability to perform, and it's easier for people to just talk about you and not do their own job, right? That's the crazy part. Instead of doing their own job and trying to aspire through a friendly sense of competition, they will just sit. They will sit there and just talk about you. They would rather just talk about you. You know, it's crazy, but that's how people are. Clary was never like that. Clary was the kind of guy that if he heard somebody talking about me, he would let me know, and he would check them right quick. Like, hey, you weren't there. Don't talk. You know what I mean? And even when something went down, you know, if he wasn't there, he'll be the first one to be like, hey man, look, this person's saying this person's saying that. Stay on your P's and Q's, because you know you don't want to get fired. And even then, dude, I'm telling you guys, I was so hard-headed that I was like, nah, whatever, blah blah blah. I didn't want to believe it, because it was just like, you know, this guy thinks that because he had some bad experiences, it means that that's how it really is. No, dog. People are, when somebody's going out of their way to look out for you, it's because there's a reason for it. You know what I mean? Look at it like this: at work, they are your co-workers, acquaintances, until you start hanging out together after work. Then that grows into a friendship. Amen. And you know what? I will pile onto that a little bit, brother Mike. Even then, there are people that will hang out with you just for the sake of trying to figure out how to hurt you, man. And as sad as that is to say, it's 100% true, because I have seen that. I have seen that so many times. Believe me, there are people who there are people who are so vindictive and so jealous of other people, especially when you're doing well. I don't know what Brother Mike does for a living, but I know that in my line of work, if you do well, it doesn't stay a secret. Like, it's, you know, everybody knows about it. And not because you're trying to pat yourself on the back, but because just of the nature of the work, the accomplishments get put out there because they know it's again, it's not a secret. And you know, I would say 95 to 99% of people in my field of work, I'm telling you, they will sit there and be like, oh, you know, he just got lucky and this and that, you know, just stuff like that, man. I would say probably for every 15 or 20 guys you meet, you can probably only really trust one guy not to be that way. And that's, even then, that's a very, very conservative number. Very conservative. It doesn't matter what agency you're with. It don't matter. It don't matter. At the end, believe me when I tell you, you guys will see that for yourself. Bro was already damaged when he got here. That's true. You got to keep an eye on people. I take care of my, absolutely, yeah. And you know, my wife is saying, like, my wife is like that too. My wife is like, she's very iffy on who we hang out with, and not because she's trying to be full of crap at all. That, quite the opposite. My wife loves people. You know, she loves going out. You know, if we know people that are worth going out with, whatever. The problem is that we have so rarely met anyone that was worth that kind of trust. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. And this thing's not doesn't go up anymore. Right, well, I didn't need it to, thank God. What? You guys see that? Ooh, split in half. I've never seen that. Let's go. I'll take a split in half. Disciple of Christ, I'm stuffed. Welcome, my brother. I'm glad you're stuffed. Let me do some over here before the stream starts saying that I'm a whole gift and vote. Oh, that's what I get for not pausing the game. Oh, get out before you die. You guys see how many shots it took to take that guy out? These things are, the concrete on them is so thick, man. Yeah, my wife does, she doesn't, my wife doesn't hate people, like, at all. My wife, like I said, is just weary of people because she's had a lot of the same bad experiences that I've had. It's just like, people always in some way, they always, you know, they show you. And not that we shouldn't love each other in the name of Christ, for sure. We should always love each other in the name of Christ. You know, that's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is that you just got to be careful. And if anybody does need prayer or is going through anything like that, please feel free to drop your prayer request in the chat or call into the show. Whatever you guys want to do, you're welcome to do. I made sure that the link is nice and clear, and that it is not obfuscated by any of it's not even click. It's its own separate line now, so that if anybody on mobile, you have a much easier time to call, because I know that was an issue, like people on mobile. Some people figure it out, some people not so quick, but that's okay. All right, so we got that, man. What else do we have? We got to take this out. These are gonna be. I hope there's a an anti-aircraft gun or something up there, because those things are a pain. Like anything with Bavarium, it's so thick. Like it's manufactured so thick as far as the concrete goes that yeah. Look at that. Happy Easter to everybody, man. Happy Easter. This is a Happy Easter stream. I won't be too happy later because I got to go to work, but I will tell you guys that I am extraordinarily grateful to have a job to go to. I am treated very well there. It is not a difficult job. They do make you love the profession that you're in, you know, and it's a far cry from where I come from. You know, I cannot say that about that, you know, the place that I came from, although I still, at the end of the day, was grateful to have a job all the time. Okay, the excavator's done. This thing creates all kinds of chaos. All right, so there's some Bavarium deposit containers over here on this side that we need to take out. Unfortunately, there's no... I see them, but I don't see any way to take them out, like, easily. If you guys do hear my voice is really jacked, I do have a respiratory infection. My kids and my wife have been passing it around to each other. Sucks, but nothing you can do. I went 2 weeks successfully without catching it. And it appears as though my luck has run out, so it is what it is. Most explosion messing, I don't. Some of these I wouldn't even know how to begin. This one still, that's what I'm saying. Look at the subsequent explosions, has barely moved this thing, but to say that it damaged it, I highly doubt it, guys. But yeah, so Clary is... Hang on a second, guys. I'm checking on my Rumble stream because I don't know if it's frozen or not. The TikTok. Oh, jeez. Every time I look up, somebody shoots me or... Let's go live. Okay, yeah. It looks like it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I was like, yo, what's going on? We got one more thing. These are over here. Probably a couple 100 meters away. Or almost a kilometer, you know, whatever. Yeah, man. Clary's that guy that honestly I look at as my brother. Even though, to be honest with you, I've not like been able to hang out with him in over a decade. But I know for a fact that if I needed something or something thick was going down, he'd be there. And he knows the same thing about me too. You know what I mean? I know the same can be said of some of my brothers. I won't say which because I don't want to hurt feelings, but I know in my heart which ones would be. I know for a fact I know which ones would be. Especially one of them was here the other day. Mr. Cologne. I know for a fact that dude is he's ride or die no matter what, you know. And that's the thing is that there are people who are your family that are your family, and they act like your family, you know, without a doubt. He's one of those people. Papo has always been since he was born. You know, I love that little boy, and I'm proud of him too. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Papo. The way he takes care of himself. I think that of all the situations we've been in, my brothers. So my mother has 4 children, and she abandoned 3 of them. She should have abandoned the 4th because the one that had the best, the father who loved them the most. He was living with him in Puerto Rico. She showed up and she grabbed him, man, and out of spite too. To this day, she admits that she did that out of spite, which, you know, it sucks. But I'm not mad that she did it because my nieces and nephew wouldn't be here if she wouldn't went to Puerto Rico and grabbed them. So it is what it is. But I'm proud of him, man, because you know he got a raw. I would argue that he got the rawest deal, man. My 2 older brothers got snatched by my grandmother and raised by her, and she was basically their mom, you know, and I got snatched by my dad and my stepmother, who, you know, didn't love me as much as my grandmother loved my brothers, but at least I was being, I wasn't starving. You know what I mean? I wasn't homeless. So I will not make things seem worse than they are, guys. That's not something that a man or a woman of Christ should do. I'm not here for sympathy. We're just here talking life lessons and how can we approach it as Christian men and women. That's it. That's all. That's all I'm here for. That I was treated well, no. Right? That I was treated like I was actually loved, no. And they both have admitted as much, maybe not directly, but kind of, right? So, this one's tough, guys. This one's tough. But they know now. I know my stepmother years ago. I wasn't in the room. I'm going off what my wife said. Stated that, my stepmother said something to the effect of that she regretted the way she used to treat me, and to me, it's all moot now because I wouldn't be the person that I am. I had to go through what I went through in order to be the person that I am, right? And that's just what it is. I think that without even realizing it, they made me into a person that wasn't willing to take any crap, that had a lot of discipline because I knew they were gonna look for any single little excuse. What up, Nomadic? The Bible is not morally or philosophically consistent. The Bible is 100% philosophically consistent, and if you want to call in and talk about it, we can do that. I know you don't got to go to Rumble, Mike. It's been growing organically by itself, so I appreciate that. Thank you, though. Thou shalt not murder Samuel, commit genocide against Amalekites, Jesus, love your enemies. Yeah, so if you want me to get into those refutations, I will. As a matter of fact, I will, because I know you think that you're doing something and you're not. So let's switch the scenes here. Let me bring up my chat first of all. It says it's not philosophically consistent, but this is par for the course for people who love to quote Bible verses out of context, they don't have the slightest idea what they're talking about. They like to pretend like they do, but they absolutely 100% don't. So we're gonna go into my live. Let me grab the chat real quick. I want to say that was from YouTube Shorts. All right, so let's go in here. This is part of the course for people. Pause it. Oh no, it was the wrong one. Bible verses out of context. Dang it. Yeah, that was a YouTube short stream, right? All right, so nope, live, and we're gonna do the vertical one, and we're gonna clip it here. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And I do have a brief ready for you, my friend. Let me bring it up. Let's bring up the debate briefs. Let's bring up the debate briefs. So this is actually perfect. So this individual, Nomadic, says, Moses says, thou shalt not murder. Samuel says, commit genocide against the Amalekites. Jesus says, love your enemies. The Bible is not morally or philosophically consistent. Well, perfect. I'm glad you said that. This is the classic Bible contradiction hot take from someone who's either never read it in context or thinks they're the first person to string together Moses, Samuel, and Jesus like it's some kind of moral gotcha. So let's go ahead and torch this nonsense with scripture, history, and logic, because this is surface level sarcasm trying to masquerade as deep moral insight and intellect. So the claim that Moses says, don't murder. Samuel commands genocide. Jesus says, love your enemies. The Bible is morally inconsistent. Well, here's the truth, which I know you're not used to hearing. The Bible makes a sharp, consistent distinction between murder, unlawful, unjustified taking of life, and divine judgment carried out by God through Israel in a specific context. Jesus' command to love your enemies is personal ethics under the new covenant, not a contradiction of God's right to judge evil nations under the old. So when it says thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not murder does not mean thou shalt not kill. Exodus 20:13 says thou shalt not murder. The Hebrew word ratash, meaning unlawful killing, not killing in general. This command forbids personal vengeance, malice, and bloodshed without justice. But God also commanded the death penalty for certain crimes, which can be found in Exodus 21, verses 12 through 17. Just war against enemy nations in Deuteronomy 20, protection of cities of refuge for accidental killings in Numbers 35. So here's the problem. Not all killing is murder. And not all killing is unjust, especially not when God commands it. And he alone has the right to give and take life. It's not murder for God because he gives you the life to begin with. If I am a clay potter and I create a pot and then I destroy it, you can't send me to jail because it's mine. I created it. I will destroy it whenever I want. Okay, so let's start there. Now, moving aside from that, Gnome, you said, and let me see if there was anything else that you said. Yeah, you didn't. And you're probably not even, yeah, but here. So moving on to the second point about Samuel and the Amalekites. Divine judgment is not genocide. 1 Samuel 15:3. Now go and strike Amalek, devote to destruction all that they have. It sounds harsh until you understand the little fact that I'm sure you glossed over purposely, that the Amalekites were brutal, aggressive enemies who ambushed Israel's weakest, which can be found in Deuteronomy 25:17 through 19. They committed generational warfare against God's people. God waited over 400 years to bring judgment, which can be found in Exodus 17 and Genesis 15:16. So this wasn't mindless genocide. It was judgment on a wicked nation from the author of life, who gave them centuries to repent. Genesis 18:25 says, "Thou shalt not judge of all the," shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just? So you are not morally superior to God, and no, this wasn't permission to kill just anyone. This was a unique, time-bound command from the God of justice. Then Jesus says, love your enemies is not a contradiction, it's a covenant shift. Matthew 5:44 says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Jesus is giving personal, individual commands to believers, not canceling God's justice in history. Romans 12:19 says, do not take revenge, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Christians are not called to wage holy war, but that doesn't mean God's justice vanished. It means he's alone and carrying it out, and he will judge the world righteously, which can be found in Acts 17:31. So here's the thing about it, man. There's a difference between moral consistency and different roles. God is the judge. He is the moral arbiter, not you, not me. We are the sinners. He has the right to punish evil. We do not have that right outside of his command. Old Testament Israel was God's instrument of judgment. New Testament believers are his instruments of mercy. There are different roles and the same moral foundation: justice, mercy, and God's holiness. So the final shot to this nonsense that you tried to paste into my comment section is that when someone like you says the Bible is morally inconsistent, Moses says don't kill, Samuel commits genocide, Jesus says love your enemies, I will tell you that you just quoted 3 verses wildly out of context to make a meme. Murder is forbidden. Divine judgment is not. God's justice didn't vanish with the New Testament. It was fulfilled in Christ, who bore the wrath we deserve. The Bible is morally consistent. What you're doing is intellectually lazy and biblically illiterate. And quoting things out of context is what atheists like to do, which is why he thought he was doing something, and probably thought that I wasn't going to address it, because people like him are used to going into smaller streamers and saying whatever they want and thinking they're going to get away with it. Well, that's not how it works. So it looks like we got the full perfect score out of this, guys. We got a wingman unlocked before we went over there and smashed up Nomadic's nonsense. If you're going to criticize the Bible, first learn hermeneutics and actually read the Bible for yourself. One of the first things I do after reading and rereading a book of the passage of the Bible is to go into the original language to understand the words in its original, very tedious process. It is, disciple, but that's only because you're a true man of Christ who really wants to understand what the Word of God says. And it's great what you're doing, because even though none of the message is lost in translation, a lot of people will try to use the language of the Bible for their own nefarious purposes, and then you can go back to the original languages and show, like the guy who from yesterday who was saying that Judas hanged himself, but then Judas exploded. The guy literally sat there with a straight face typing this out, not realizing that nobody ever insinuated that Judas lost his life by exploding after falling. Human beings almost never explode after falling unless he fell off Mount Everest. The fact of the matter was, people like to read things out of context and out of order because they think that they're doing something. They're not, right? Especially atheists. This is exactly why I will continue to title the show the way that I do, because it's ridiculous that these people think that they're doing something when they make these idiotic comments. All right, so we unlocked the gear mod, which is, what is this? Automatically put away the wingsuit when going slow enough while air braking. I didn't even know I could air brake. Hold N to slow down while wingsuiting. Oh, yeah, I might have to change that, because I didn't even know that was a thing yet. Maybe we'll just make it something else here. Let's make it one something that I know I'm not using. Yo, so you know how to read English? Yeah, he knows how to read English, obviously. Digital Hammurabi, welcome everybody, welcome everybody. Of course, if he's in here typing in my chat, how would he not know how to read English? I don't understand. I honestly don't understand the question. What are we doing here? Oh, we were going to change the keybind, right? Okay. Options, PC controls, on foot, and then we go to wingsuit. It's end, cancel, drop, end. There we go. No. Select you. But I want, hold on. I don't want to select dual yield. I want to break. Deploy wingsuit. Open parachute melee, precision and cancel drop, interact, select dual, select. Move right, walk, pause, game. Where is slow down? I don't get it. Car bonus. All right, well, I'll figure that out off stream, guys. I'm not gonna make you watch this. Okay. All right, what are we doing next here, guys? Let's see. I want the map because we still haven't unlocked all of this. It might be here. Maybe up there. Oh, let's see, guys. I don't know. It's far though. It's a lot of Bavarium in these cliffs. Yeah, Nomadic, I don't know that you said so. I don't know if you're trying to call the show. I don't know if you want to continue to have back and forth, but I am not going to debate in the comment section. I'll read what I read. Anything else you say, I'm going to ignore. If you want to, if any atheist feels they're tough enough, come up and stand up. I've noticed that there's a lot more Christians that are willing to call into atheist shows than atheists that are willing to call into Christian shows, and you got to ask yourself why that is. But back to the conversations about real friends, guys. I think that God puts real friends in your life, right? And I don't think that I actually know that. But the problem is that there's going to be a lot of people in your life that God doesn't put, and you have to leave it up to him to make sure that he removes those people out of your life. Because seldomly do they ever have a purpose, unless it's a lesson that you're learning, and those are definitely God ordained. But oh yes, I was right. First shot, let's go. But yeah, guys, I don't know if you guys ever had if anybody wants to call in and talk about that. If anyone wants to say, hey, you know what, I had this happen to me with a friend, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to talk about it. You guys are more than welcome to come through. Oh, you got the call off. It says if I hold V, I could walk? Yeah. I don't even run fast enough as it is. There's no way I can see myself walking anyway. You know? I don't get that. I don't get it. Who's gonna want to walk? Oh, I thought that was a helicopter coming, but it's just a noise coming from this vent. I got excited. I was like, yes. I got lucky, dude, and hit me right in the head. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We do live in a world full of silliness. I can tell you that, though. I think it's hilarious. I mean, you guys tell me what you think. I mean, the chat has been super quiet anyway, but you guys let me know what you think, that I think it's crazy that there are so many people who think they know so much about the Bible, and they know just enough to copy and paste a comment, but then there's almost never any follow-up, and there's certainly never any intestinal fortitude to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna... Man, come on, I never gonna have to get hit that much. To call a show and try to defend their nonsense, because it's all garbage, and they know it is. They know it is. Bro, that must have been a shotgun, because he got me with a scatter shot. I'm gonna have to go ahead and take this from you, man. I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate y'all making this easy for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you guys just know what I need all the time. Oh, and he hit the wrong. He hit his homie. Oh, if anybody survives from that, which they won't, they would have had it out with him.
Tanks are inbound to your position. Oh, that got me over the edge.
You messed up. You missed, dog. Okay, there's no way. There's no way that I died, but whatever. I don't understand. Michael Martin, sub to the cross unit. Thank you so much for subbing, man. God bless you and welcome to the family, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your support. Throw a grenade at this thing.
Reports of violence in the area. All units converge.
Oh, that was down there. I was saying I was just gonna blow up that tower.
Additional support has been approved. You should reach your location shortly. Locate the rebel immediately. Do not let them escape.
God, bro. But yeah, I think that more than anything, guys, we should be talking about what's really important, and that's the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that's something that even an atheist like Bart Ehrman says, that even though he doesn't believe it happened, he has no historical alternative. He has nothing else to say that, well, this could have happened. You know what I mean? And I admire an atheist who at least can be honest, because most of them cannot. People like Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Rao, they cannot. Christopher Hitchens definitely could not. Could never expect any sort of honesty from him. But the thing about atheist debaters especially is that they have this thing where they think that because they're extraordinarily sarcastic and insulting during their debates, and condescending, that it means that they're right. You know, and you can be as condescending as you want. I can be more condescending than any atheist out there, but it doesn't mean that you're right. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You can be right in your mind, but definitely not be correct, and that's the problem with these guys. Happy Easter, Rabbit Chicken. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Or the people that like to spew something and walk away, not hearing a reasonable answer to their question. Well, yeah, brother Mike. That's why I said I bet you he's not even here. You know what I mean? Because that's just how they like to operate. The Bible has so many predictions, such as Genesis 49, where it predicts the Messiah would come from the tribe of Judah. Absolutely, Arizona, but they don't. Those are not things that they're going to act. Hey, we got another follower on Rumble. Let's go. Dude, I got to find a way to get Rumble, because Rumble is growing, guys. Rumble is growing. We have 15 followers. And I'm sorry, guys. I know there's people out there that'll be like, oh, that's not a lot of people. For me, that's a lot of people. Because when you guys come, here's the thing, man. You guys could be coming from anybody else. You guys could come from any other any social media platform. You guys can follow so many other people, and you guys don't. You choose to be here with me, which I appreciate from the bottom of my heart, because you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm a small YouTuber. I'm an even smaller TikToker. I have an almost non-existent Rumble presence, but you guys are here. My followings on Instagram, X, True Social, wherever else, they're very small, very small. And you know what? But I appreciate those communities, because guess what? It's first of all much larger than anything I ever had before. But that's only because of the grace of God. That's only because I allowed Him to show me what He wanted for my channel. Right? When I turned this channel over to God, when I turned it over to Jesus Christ, the growth was ridiculous. And not because every single video gets millions of views. No, there are still videos that I worked very hard on that barely get any views, right? I think my last 6 long form videos have performed abysmally as far as video, like, viewer count. But the fact of the matter is, there's still people who are viewing it. Look at this monstrosity. My goodness, guys. This is going to take a long time. If that's a gunship over there, I'm going to take it, the naval ship, because it is very hard to destroy. And I'll just take that and start destroying things because this is flat land, thank God. So a lot of the stuff can be destroyed from out here. They're going to be upset because I'm going to take their destroyer, but the DRN are like atheists. I'm not here because I care what they think. Look, they're already trying to pop me. Steam Decks are so expensive. Yeah, bro. You know what though? My mother-in-law for my birthday bought me a Lenovo Legion Go, bro. And then I installed Bazite Linux on there. Man, I can't put it down, dog. I cannot put it down. And every game works, bro. Every single game works. It is glorious. Hello? Did you guys see that? That thing went completely sideways. Okay, let's see if... Okay, it's too high. Wonder if I can hit these from there. There is drop. Okay, so we'll do that. It missed. Yeah, they will. But brother Mike, I think your comment is the one that I agree with, probably more than, I mean, not that I agree with all of them, but you're 100% correct, brother Mike, because that's why they like to say things and leave. But here's the thing about the atheist movement. They don't say things and leave because they think they're right. They say things and leave because they know they're wrong, and they don't want to be challenged because they're not prepared for what an actual challenge entails. Man, this thing is... I know it's a naval craft, but my goodness gracious, is it slow. Stream Decks are not Steam Decks. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Steam Deck. Stream Decks? I mean, yeah, they can be pricey. They can be pricey. You're talking about a Stream Deck for the computer, yeah. For like OBS Studio and stuff, and God knows how many other things. Yeah, there are Stream Deck minis. They're like 60 or 80 bucks depending on where you get them from. Sometimes you can find them on sale. You know what I mean? Look at all the stuff this thing has to destroy.
Missile strike coming down.
Oh. Okay, distillation towers are gone. Guess I hit this guy. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about something else. Arizona. Also, they have the mobile version, 6 free buttons. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that to anybody, though, because I wouldn't want you to use a Stream Deck that has ads. Every time you launch it, you got to watch an ad before you want to use it. But, I mean, you got to go with what you can use. You know what I mean? So yeah, I see where you're coming from, Arizona. I remember the first time I got a Stream Deck. I got it because for all the wrong reasons. Because I wasn't a streamer back then. I wasn't even really a content creator, if we're being honest. Okay. Oh God, I was gonna say. My goodness. I was just gonna say, do not get stuck on a sandbar. They scrambled jets, but I don't know why, because it's not like they're going to get me. Oh, am I going to get out? I just pressed 2 random buttons. Here, let me see. Let me see if I can use my grapplers to get it out. Because I do not want to be here on foot making you guys watch all of this. That's going to be crazy. Let's pull this way. Let's pull. Tank right there, so there's consolation prize for sure. We got it. We got it. Thank God. I wasn't sure if it was going to work because it is a very heavy object, but it worked, so thank God. Mika 5.2 also predicts the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. Yeah, Arizona, but they like to ignore that stuff. That's the thing. And then you got people like who like to name themselves idiotic things that they think is clever, like Deconstruction Zone, who will sit there and say that Jesus failed all messianic prophecy, but he won't talk about messianic prophecies like that. Nor will he acknowledge the fact that people way smarter than him have confirmed these prophecies from long, long ago. But he thinks because he doesn't acknowledge it, it means that it's not true. And it's pathetic, but I mean, it is what it is. But he got roasted big time on Tim Pool's show, which was well deserved. So good on Inspiring Philosophy and Tim Pool for putting that guy in his place. This thing can take a lot of abuse. Okay. Look at that. The Bible. Hold on, let me catch up on comments here. You just ordered a mini, you go, boy. That's what I'm talking about. Drive-by comments. Yeah, for real, right? Also, they have the mobile version. The Bible is one giant prophecy. It's filled with foreshadowing. Yeah, but you know the thing is, if you're spiritually blind and you're spiritually discerned, you can't see it. That's the problem, bro. I get extremely mad when people say stupid things like, that's the Old Testament, it doesn't apply. Matthew 5. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, is that if you don't read the Bible, you don't know the nuance of the Bible. You don't know that the moral law still applies, right? And that's the thing, is that the moral law will always apply. The only thing that Jesus did away with in the Old Covenant were the old Israeli laws, the ceremonial, the dietary, the ordinance laws, the stuff that was really, that the only thing God was trying to do was have the Israelites distinguished from the pagan nations around them, right? Because they were doing so many things that were contrary to Yahweh's will that he didn't want them doing it, right? That's where the not shaving the sides of your face comes from, not eating pork, all that stuff. That's from those old Hebrew laws, right? And they weren't working, obviously, right? How many people you think actually got into heaven for slaughtering pigs for their sins? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think that anybody could have actually succeeded at that, right? Because we can't. Obviously, we couldn't, and it's why Jesus came and did it for us, because he was like, you guys ain't gonna listen. Could you guys imagine if we till this day couldn't shave the sides of our face, couldn't eat certain foods, couldn't mix fabrics, just so much stuff. It's like it's unattainable for human beings. It really is. Cool. I'm so glad I got hit right away, because that's completely realistic. No, you're not ready. What are you talking about? Oh, I see them. I see them. I see them. Okay, I'll go take this out. Shoot, dude, I swear. Hate this. All right, cool. Good. Going down, guys. It is going down. I'm so sorry for the way I feel today, guys, but I mean, not much I could do. There's a lot of stuff to destroy. Okay, I thought I had a CS5, not a sniper. What? Oh, that's one of ours. They're getting hit big time. But they're getting hit by... They're getting hit by ground fire. No, I agree with you, Arizona. I agree with that. And good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in quite some time. So God bless. Thank you for being here. We haven't had anyone calling the show. Well, we did. I think on Friday people called in, right? So not a biggie. I mean, people are going to call when they're going to call. This is not a very big, big channel. You know what I mean? Okay, that's the most we can do. I guess these things can't turn all the way around. Dude, what? Ugh. Hey, you guys hear about that one content creator too, who apparently got locked up in the Philippines, and they're gonna have him there for like 25 years or something? You know what the thing is, guys? I think people got used to doing whatever they wanted to do, right? And I actually don't think it. I know it. Like, legitimately, people got used to going around and having no consequences for their actions whatsoever. You have to understand, guys, that there are still countries out there that just because the Western world tolerates so much of your stupidity doesn't mean that other people are going to tolerate your stupidity. And that's what people have to understand, man. Like, you don't get to just do and say whatever you want to do and say to people. Like, for example, if I'm not mistaken, this guy like tried to take a security guard's gun or something like that. He was like grinding on an old lady, real inappropriate dumb stuff. And I don't know what the thing is. The Philippines is they don't play that crap, man. They will lock you up. They don't have all these social justice, all this other garbage that they have over here that perpetuates criminal behavior. They don't have that. They don't agree with it, and they're not going to allow it. And, you know, apparently some of these content creators are out here thinking that what they're doing is cute, man. And you know, what you did for clicks, you're going to be sitting in a jail, dude. And those jails over there, I'm going to tell you, man, the Filipino prisons have no worries about your comfort. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Prison is not for comfort. If it's uncomfortable, it's because that's the way it should be. People ain't going to prison because because you did something good, right? It's not the Ritz-Carlton. But a lot of people forget that, you know? And now if it was a cop who does something wrong and they go to jail, yeah, they want it to be the worst prison on earth. But if a scumbag who shoots somebody does something, no, you got to treat him like a human being. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and that's more of a progressive mindset that I just don't understand. And you would have to be idiotic if you do understand it, to be honest with you, because it's brain rot. It's absolute brain rot. Slurpee, what up, man? Also, the destruction of Jerusalem was predicted in Jeremiah 24 or 25. Yeah, but again, that's something that they will willingly overlook because they think that they know better than everybody. Also, he was making a mockery during a press conference or something. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's not a smart dude, man. He's not a smart dude. I don't know. I don't even know where he's from. I don't know if he's from the UK or if he's from Australia. I'm almost positive he's not American. I've heard his accent. Slurpee, if you could clear that up for me, because I don't know where the guy's from. All I can tell you is that he is in a lot of trouble. Because they don't have these systems of probation and parole and bond, and they don't do that, man. They don't do it. I just don't understand why people don't act right, man. Act right. Who the hell raised you? You know, who taught you how to act that way? I don't get it. I just don't understand. Like, the way that the stuff he was doing, especially to, like, that older lady, is like, would you want somebody doing that to your grandmother? You know what I mean? But they don't think like that, man. Everything is supposed to be funny. I told my wife and I were having a similar conversation to that. I want to say yesterday, is I watched this. I have this app called Scoops, and I suggest you guys check it out. It's very cool. It's like there's a lot of, I wouldn't say not uncensored like hold on, somebody joined the call. I suggest you. It's like it's there's a lot of I would. Yo, Peter. All right, we got somebody in the call, guys, but I don't know. It says that I don't know if he's muted. I see him. He's on my, well, he's screen sharing my stream, so I don't know. But I do see him. Let's see if he'll pop up on the no, I'm sorry. Wrong. It's not popping anymore. I got to fix that. It used to be where you guys, it'll show you guys who's joining. Yeah, we have somebody named Peter here in the chat. He's not showing his. Okay. Oh, okay, the game. All right. Let's see here. 17 watching. Yeah, I don't know. He's here. He's from Canada. I can tell you that. It's youtube.ca. He's not saying anything. And we do have Peter, can you hear me? Peter, are you there? Hello? No? Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and give Peter a chance to get himself together. I don't know what's going on, so we're gonna hang up on Peter. Call back, my brother, if you do want to talk. I can still hear it. Yeah, okay. So as long as I can hear it, that's all I care about. And I have to keep the chat, like, I gotta keep those calls off the air until I can verify that whoever it is not on some BS, because the other day somebody called in to just say some random idiotic things, which I'm sure doesn't surprise anybody, but you guys know how it goes. Okay, cool. Let's do the alt-enter thing. You know, guys, honestly, I wish to God that atheism is a delusion. How is atheism a delusion? Atheism is a delusion because you believe that some magical explosion brought everything into existence, and you believe that life came from non-life. You believe that there is no God. You believe that there is no designer. You believe that everything just kind of poofed into existence, and no matter how, even your own science has proven that no matter how many times you guys wish it to be true, no amount of time would allow things as ruggedly complicated as things like DNA and stuff like that. So that's how atheism is a delusion, because it really all it just comes down to is just about being petulant, right? It's about petulant children who don't like rules. They don't like God's rules. They think that they have a moral high ground over God, which is the most laughable thing I think of the entire movement. It's dying. There's a reason why atheism is dying. And before you say it's not, and Pew Research Center did a very lengthy study about how it's dying and why it's dying. And I agree, and I agree with it. And I don't want to hear anything about, oh, well, that's just them. No, you guys always want to quote them. Well, here we are. They're the ones saying that you guys have no standing in the world, because there's nothing about the atheist movement that's even remotely realistic or intelligent. Not even remotely. So that's why it's a delusion. When you believe that an explosion, now mind you that explosions have never, ever in human history been known to create anything. Explosions always only destroy. But you guys think that some magical explosion called the Big Bang brought everything into existence, and that we used to be monkeys, and it's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, think about it. The theory of evolution has never been proven. It's never been observed. It's never been any of these things. But you think that it's true because somebody took an artist rendition of a bunch of fossils and a bunch of transitionary species that have never been discovered and never will be, and says this is how this happened. And you guys believe it because you want it to be. Because it's easier than being accountable for your actions. That's how it's a delusion. So an argument from incredulity because you don't understand. I understand the Big Bang, and we can have that discussion if you want. But if you want to call into the show, Blonde, call into the show. The link is right there in the description below, and I promise you, you will leave here not happy with what I'm going to say to you, because atheists got used to people being afraid of them, right? The Christopher Hitchens and the Iran Raz and the Matt Dillahunties of the world thought that their condescending tones towards Christians and anyone else made them intellectually superior. And now we're here smacking you guys down in every single debate, regardless of what the topic is that you guys want to introduce. And what you've been reduced to is what my brother Mike calls drive-by comments, right? Transitional species have not been found. Yeah, now, so here's the thing. The Big Bang was originally founded as an explosion. And then they renamed it to an expansion because they realized, wait a second, explosions don't create anything. We'll call it an expansion. It's ridiculous. All it is just scientists trying to backpedal on the gish gallop that they constantly are caught doing. Give me a second, guys. But again, if you want to have, all right, Blunt, if you want to have that discussion, then go ahead, go ahead and call the show. I would be extraordinarily surprised if you had the intestinal fortitude to do so. You won't. I know you won't, but you're welcome to. Everybody's welcome to, because I'm not going to talk down to you the way that atheists like to try to do to people. We're going to have a discussion and I especially want you. Holy. Oh, give me a second, guys. This camera is not responding. Give me a second. Let me bring up the I don't know why my camera is not looking at me anymore. There we go. All right, now we're tracking. Literally, now we're tracking. Yeah, if you want to call in the show and have that discussion, we can have that discussion. No, I always want to. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I have looked deeper. You know what? When you throw a jigsaw puzzle up in the air and it lands assembled, then we'll talk. Since that's never gonna happen, there's nothing for the. You're coming through here and you're upset because you're getting challenged and you know that you don't have what it takes and you don't want to get embarrassed and you don't want to get clipped. So you're here to. Oh, you just don't understand. Oh yeah, because I've never heard that one before. For the last couple weeks, all we've been doing is Supon bombing atheists in here. But yeah, you're right. It's my lack of understanding. Come on, man. I have no mercy for the atheistic movement because you all are the most disingenuous liars and false intellectuals that exist. And I'm sick and tired of people listening to you, which is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I wasn't even going to stream anymore, but you know what? I said they deserve to get exposed for what they are. It's exactly why that one atheist went on Tim Pool's show and got humiliated, which he 100% deserved, because he got used to getting on his little TikTok and bullying people and trying to word things in a way that make him look right all the time. But then he goes on somebody else's show and gets made to look like the fool that he is. I mean, it is what it is. If any atheist is welcome to call in here and say what they want to say, but I'm telling you right now, you're not going to leave. You're not going to get the response that you think you're going to get, and you're not going to get the traditional Christian, what you guys used to get for years, where you guys, oh look, he just did it. No, you're going to get intellectually pounced on. You're not going to like it. I'm telling you right now. Okay, so it's not here. Good thing I landed by some planes. Is there something here? I don't. Oh, okay. There's something here. Man, this place is gigantic.
One step closer to freedom.
I think we'll liberate one more spot, and then start doing and then start unlocking some gear mods. Yeah, well, you were right, brother Mike. Look, another atheist who comes in. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion, it was an expansion. The literal name indicates that you originally said that it was a massive explosion of all matter, and now you're saying it's an expansion. It's called the Big Bang. It's not called the Big Expansion. Yeah, atheists can't even read. It's a shame. It honestly is a shame.
This area is restricted.
Yeah, it's about to be my area to restrict home skillet. Don't forget to stream. Thank you so much, Brother Mike. If we deliberately keep on sinning after we receive the knowledge of truth, no sacrifice for sin is left. Amen. All right, Brother Maverick, I'm going to get going for family. Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for being here, man. God bless you. And always welcome here, like I said, like I always say, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just repeating again, Mav, in case you didn't see before, he was Russian. My bad if you... No, I didn't see it. David Tennant is in this game. Cool. I don't know who David Tennant is. Right. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Also, the first sure, bro. Yeah, just continue. Yeah, I'm not going to continue to think I'm right. I continue to know I'm right. Science continues, and so does history and archaeology to confirm the Bible and God, not your worldview, my brother. And I'm sorry that you don't understand that, but I don't care. I'm not here anymore to take it easy on atheists. I'm here to expose it for what it is. I cannot stand atheism. I cannot, because it is the condescension and the pseudo intellectualism to me is like they're destroying themselves, and we're gonna go ahead and help it. We're gonna help it go away. I would respect people more who would at least have the gall to be like, yeah, you know what, I don't like God's rules. I want to do what I want to do. I want to fornicate. I want to you know, I want to do things that are outside of male and female relationships. But here's the problem, man, that no matter what, Jesus made it clear that marriage is between a man and a woman. That's it. And that's all. Nothing's going to change that. You can say whatever you want. You can try to reference, ancient writings. You can try to lie and say, oh, well, it wasn't actually referring to that. Yes, it was. We have the original manuscripts. And I don't even understand why people in general would even try to make such a frivolous argument, because they know we have the original manuscripts, right? And you have people like Brandon Robertson who will sit there and say, oh, well, no, it says not to do as they were doing in the land of Canaan and Egypt. In the land of Canaan and Egypt, he's trying to make the insinuation that it was about little slave boys and stuff. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that these are arguments that people will actually listen to, but they're not listening to them because they sound good or they sound accurate or anything like that. They're listening to them because they want it to be true so that they can continue to do whatever they want. That's what it comes down to, guys. That's all it comes down to. It has nothing to do with the progressive argument being true, because it's not even close, and it's very easy to prove that it's not. That's not what it comes down to. What it comes down to is, what do you want to believe? Are you going to believe what's actually true? Are you going to be honest with yourself? Or are you just going to go ahead and go along with it because people like Brandon Robertson say it because you want it to be true? That's the biggest problem that I think people have. Oh, there's tanks over there. Let's go. Get up, dude. Am I going to die? I think I'm going to die. I literally thought I was gonna die. Yeah, I thought it was over right there, guys. Did I hit it? Oh, yeah, we did. We'll do that for good measure. Oh, this guy right here is like thinking about it, like, I wonder if he sees me. Yeah, I saw you, bro. This is my first time catching a stream. Keep up the great work. I'd like to get your thoughts on the Shroud of Turin. Yeah, Shock. Shock. I'm sorry. Sock Johnson, thank you so much for being here. God bless you, and I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I have looked a lot at the Shroud of Turin. I was looking at some content that Wes Huff made about it, and it was actually funny because I don't think that the Shroud of Turin isn't a new discovery, according to him. I didn't think it was either, to be honest. However, yeah, there is a lot of in no way am I saying that it's fake. I don't think it's fake. As a matter of fact, I know in my heart it's not. But the fact is, technology, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Technology is not helping to disprove anything in the Bible. Quite the contrary, right? Every single time we have a discovery, There's been over 25,000 archaeological discoveries confirming biblical events by itself, just in archaeology alone, right? And I think it's crazy that there are people who will sit here and say, oh yeah, you just believe because there's lack of evidence. Lack of evidence. If we had any more evidence, it's called an embarrassment of riches or something like that. Somebody said that. There's like an embarrassment of riches as far as evidence goes for Christianity, but people don't want to see it, right? And the Shroud of Turin is just one of those many instances where people just choose not to see it. Not because they can't, not because they're silly or unintellectual or anything like that, because they don't want to, right? You literally had a guy who sat here on my stream named Justin, who stated that he himself has disproved that Jesus fulfilled any messianic prophecy. The guy sits there with a straight face and says it. To say nothing of the work for people who have actually proved it, right? People who are exponentially smarter than him. No, he says nope. He didn't pass any. He failed all messianic prophecy. Yeah, okay. You go ahead and keep on thinking that, pal, because you want it to be true. But that's what atheism is about. It's about what is true, what I want to be true. That's what it comes down to, guys. As sad as it is and as pathetic as it sounds, it's unfortunately true. What are you doing here? So. But yeah, guys, that no amount of shouting slogans is going to change things. You know what I mean? And no amount of pretending that, you know, you are something you're not is going to change things. No amount of any of those things is gonna happen. And I keep saying that on this channel time and time again, is that you would have thought that this this last election showed people where people's mindset really is, and it's not on the left. It is not on the left. It is not with these slogans. It is not with these. You know, I mean, we had a person who called himself the president who was more concerned with flying the LGBTQ flag at the White House than anything else. You know, it's crazy, but it's the truth, and people were sick of it. But mind you, if you're the vast majority, if people are, you know, or if this is the future now, then why did the people who shared those ideals lose so badly in that last election? Because it wasn't just a presidential election; it was a lot of politicians who lost their jobs because of the ideals that they support. So ask yourself why. You gotta ask yourself why. And it's not because you're the vast majority, like a lot of people like to believe. People are sick and tired of you taking the lives of innocent babies. People are sick and tired of the love is love lie. People are sick of it. People are sick of it. Nobody wants to hear that nonsense because they know it's a lie, and I couldn't be happier about it. You know. So I invited Blonde on the show to discuss whether or not the Big Bang Theory or evolution were plausible theories. And guess what, guys? He declined to join the show. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm surprised, because it was exactly what I said was going to happen. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, man. Like Brother Mike was talking about, it was, what does he call them? Drive-by comments. That's all it is. Drive-by comments. I'm only going to be on a little bit more, guys, because I got to go to work later. And then for the weekend coming up, the streams will take place at the same time, but I won't have to worry about getting off so soon. You know, we can do 2-3 hours as opposed to just an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. But we are doing well, man. We are doing well. Glory to God, and only glory to God. Rob Farrell, happy Easter, brother. You look into that theory, the little season one that says we are currently living. Yes, I see that there are lots of people looking into it. There's a lot of theological discussion on it, but I don't see anyone saying like for sure that they believe that we are living in Revelation, because what I'm getting more than anything is that there is still a lot of prophecy that needs to take place as far as Israel and all these other things, which I guess I would agree with. And prophecy is tough to keep up with, man. Like there are so many things that have to happen sequentially before that. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing, but I don't think that the world of theology is taking it so serious right now that they actually believe that we're living out the book of Revelation right now, from what I've seen. And I haven't gotten to look at it like as a scholar, but then again, I barely have time to make videos, and you know what I mean. So, but But yeah, I did, and it looks like I said, there's a lot of heated debate among theologians about it. But I don't think that a lot of the ones that I normally follow think that we are actually living out the Book of Revelation. Anyway, not from what I saw, not from what I've got to ascertain so far. You know what I mean? And these guys are tearing up my stuff, man. Especially this guy. What did this guy think he was gonna do with his little pea shooters over there? No, I'm saying you can do that with them pea shooters. What was I looking at? Oh, here we go. Transformer. Okay, those are gone. Oh, fuel tanks right there. Okay, and there's still more. Of course there are. Oh, but they're right there. Okay, so the other stuff is here. 3. What up, Caleb? How you doing, brother? Welcome. It's been a long time, man. Good to see you. God bless you and happy Easter, man. Unless you're a post-triber or mid-tribber. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Disciple. I don't think we are. I highly doubt it. I just, from what I know of prophecy, there's going to be a lot more that takes place before we're even close to living the Book of Revelation, if that makes sense, right? But yeah, there are lots of interesting theories that I will always. If people tell me they want me to look something up, I'll look it up. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to become an expert on it, because there's just so many. In the world of theology, guys, there are so many things to look up all the time. You know what I mean? Oh, we found these, thank God. After a little bit of off-roading in the tank here. Okay. Who's coming at me directly? I'm away right here. I'm away right here because I can already tell he's in an aircraft. Oh, no, he's not. He's in the tank. No, maybe I won't wait right here. He got a shield, man. He's got a shield. And my stuff's already almost busted. Who's shooting at me? Oh, up here. That definitely didn't help my situation. Let's get out of here. I took out those fuel tanks. Let's see if I can do any damage with this tank. If not, I'll just have to do it manually. See if I can get height over him. That might help me, despite being in so much danger. Oh yes. Shoot. There we go. Thank God. All right, so we got this. We'll place a waypoint. I'm gonna get out of here, and I'll just take that chopper up. There's someone there. I'll just take him out of the way because there's only a couple things. We did a lot of work for this one, guys. Oh, there's a guy here in a minigun. Oh no, he's not. I thought there was somebody standing there. Enemy jet destroyed. Oh, it's got to be from the SAM site that I hacked earlier. Yeah, Caleb, I'm glad to see you, my brother. God bless, man. Oh no. Oh no, there's no way. Oh, there's 3 of them. Thank God it's there. And there's one here that I took over. Sites like this have an inordinate amount of SAM sites, guys. You got to go below the radar. I just want to take out this thing right here. There it is. It's the last thing. Got it. Got it. This entire airbase belongs to us, and I unlocked the U7 Dravik, guys. The vehicle is now unlocked and appears in your Rebel drop list. Stunt Jump Sprint, Jet Frenzy 1, Airportal Tour. Right. There's no way. If we took over, why is the SAM site still shooting at me? Alright, whatever. Whatever. I guess somebody did give that SAM site the memo. Guys, it has been a blast, man. It is coming up on time for me to go. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined. I know someone named Peter tried to join in earlier. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get in. But we did really well today, man. Why do you think this neo-atheism is so popular? I find it disheartening that people truly believe it's a higher form of thinking. Well, Mark, because the thing is that remember what the Bible says, right? And the Bible does talk about literally everything. And remember when the Bible says, thinking themselves to be wise, they became fools. Thinking themselves to be wise in their own minds, they became fools. That's why. That's exactly why. And I wanted to tell you guys that don't be disheartened when it comes to atheism, because it is dying. It is dying. And I do have a brief on that right here that I'll read like a snippet to you guys before we go, because it's very interesting. And this comes from a source that you wouldn't think it comes from. It's from the Peer Research Center, the future of world religions, populations growth projections from 2015 to 2050, which is only 25 years from now. And it says by 2050, atheists, agnostics, and other non-religious people will make up a declining share of the world's population. Due to lower birth rates and lack of generational transmission, secularism is shrinking. Christians are projected to grow from 2.2 to 2.9 billion, and unaffiliated are expected to drop from 16 to 13% of the global population. Atheism is not expanding; it is a demographic dead end. And one of I think my favorite bullet point here is from Dr. Stephen Bullivant, who wrote the publication "Non-Verts: The Making of Ex-Christian America." He is a professor in Oxford, and he wrote this publication in 2022. And Dr. Bullivant, a professor of theology and sociology, shows how secularization is a product of cultural comfort, and it collapses under pressure. In places like China, Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East, belief in God is on fire, while Europe and secular America are seeing spiritual burnout and revival cycles. When people face hardship, atheism doesn't satisfy. That is from Professor Stephen Bullivant, PhD. And there is a massive Christian growth in formerly atheist nations. For example, China, communist China, tried to destroy Christianity, and now it is exploding. In 1975, there was, not 79 rather, there was 1 million Christians. Today, there are over 100 million and projected to surpass the US in believers by the year 2030, which is only 5 years from now. The source is the Center for the Study of Global Christianity by Gordon Conwell Seminary. So Christianity is outgrowing atheistic regimes, and why? Because truth survives persecution and lies do not. Guys, if you want this entire brief, as you guys can see, these are just a few of the briefs that I've been putting together only since I started the show again. The rest of them are on another folder in a OneDrive, and there are so many of them, not to mention the web, the bookmarks and the videos, and I mean, just so much. There is so much evidence proving Christianity. But again, the neo-atheism and just atheism in general seems popular to a lot more people because they're petulant children. And I keep telling you guys this. I keep saying it. I keep saying it over and over. Atheism is not about intellect. Atheism is not about knowledge. Atheism is about petulance. It's about the fact that they don't like the rules, right? They don't want to do what God says. They don't want to do the things that they need to do. They want to live for themselves. They want to do whatever the hell they want to do, and they know that God doesn't tolerate it. It's like, and I give this example, I don't know that there's a stream that I don't do that doesn't give that I don't end up giving this example. Look at Matt Dillahunty. When Matt Dillahunty was debating Wilson, right? When he was debating, I always forget this guy's, I don't know why I can never remember his name. But when he was debating Wilson, who was a very conservative Christian, he said straight out that first of all, the atheist made this entire video, right? As a matter of fact, here, I'll show it to you guys because I did a video on it. Here, let's find it real quick, and I'll bring it up. Thank you guys so much for 87,000 subs too. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. God bless you guys, and I appreciate all your support. Where are my videos? Okay, here. I gotta remember what I can't, hang on. What did I title this video? It was so long ago already. I'll find it, guys. I'm close. I'm already close. I know I'm close to it. Okay, here we go. So, guys, I always say every this is an older video of mine, guys, but here we're only gonna look like at a minute or two of it, and then we're gonna talk about exactly what happened. Okay,
atheist has a reason for hating God, and the result of this debate shows exactly that. To be completely honest, the tantrum thrown by the atheist at the end of opening statements of this debate was so illuminating to me.
Okay, so this was Matt Dillahunty and who's it? Andrew Wilson. And during this debate, I want you guys to listen to the opening statement from the atheist. Okay, I want you guys to listen carefully, and then I'm gonna explain to you guys why that was so important.
This debate stomped away and threw a tantrum.
Get out. He's argued to
Child.
Mike Johnson's the new Speaker of the House in the United States. He's homophobic as all get out. He's argued to criminalize homosexuality. Homosexualities, by the way, are U.S. citizens with specific rights that he wants to take away.
What up,
Moreover,
Morningstar?
he advocates for gay conversion therapy, which is unscientific and torturous.
Thank you,
because
Mark.
he thinks he can help them pray the gay away, and the gay can be eliminated. He's not anti-gay. He just wants them to cease to exist as gay. They get to keep being human beings. He thinks there's no right to sodomy. Privacy laws don't protect everything, and he thinks that what sort of sex you have, it should be his to regulate. 2022, he presented what was called the Don't Say Gay bill, outlawing any discussion of gender identity, sexual orientation, or related subjects, which was incredibly problematic.
Now, I want you guys to pay very close attention to his opening statement. I didn't understand why Dillahunty was going out of his way to talk about the new Speaker of the House and about gay rights in a debate about Christianity versus humanism, but it kind of made sense. But I want you guys to remember this opening statement, because at the end of the clip, we are going to discuss something that shocked me, and I did not know about Dillahunty, but definitely brings so many things about his atheistic lifestyle into focus.
You see, human flourishing, the cornerstone of Matt's ideology and that of secular humanism, is totally meaningless. Flourishing by whose metric? From my perspective, for instance, attempting to lie to people who claim men can be women isn't human flourishing. We have to do what's good for human society and human flourishing, and if you don't call these deranged lunatics something they obviously aren't, they might self-terminate. So in order to avoid that, we need to make everybody on planet Earth lie to them. This is human flourishing.
Now, again, I wanted you guys to notice how Dillahunty's entire demeanor changed when the subject of transgenderism was brought up. We're going to discuss it some more, but just keep it in mind.
I'm not going to sit here and dignify the preparation that I went through and what people were here for.
You're so indignant.
Keep interrupting me.
I am.
Okay.
You're so indignant.
Would the moderator like to step in so that I can finish the
Oh, please, Matt. Please. How dare someone have an opposing worldview?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify what was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world,
Yes.
with someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that.
I just like
Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal with respect to the 9-year-olds, not that I was in any way in favor of it and that I was actually opposed to it, which I addressed during that debate. But moreover, this is not remotely an honest interaction on the front of whether or not secular humanism is valuable. Because this, when he presented his position here, has nothing to do with secular humanism.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So right there, that's why I cut in when I did, guys, because that's what it came down to, was the fact that Dillahunty, who is an atheist, well-known atheist for whatever reason, I don't know why he's so well-known. He's not. I don't find him even remotely impressive or intellectual, but. And that's just my opinion, guys. I'm not telling you to go hate on the guy. I mean, he's obviously well established for a reason. But what I am saying is that he literally sat there throwing a tirade, talking about Andrew Wilson and his argument about, well, the debate was supposed to be about Christianity or secularism and which is better for society. The one who opened up talking about LGBTQ stuff was Dillahunty. But then when Andrew Wilson opened up with the on the same token in the same line of speak, he didn't like it. Well, it ended up being that Matt Dillahunty is partners, or was, I don't know if they are still, with Arden Hart, and Arden Hart is a person who identifies as a female, was born as a male, and that's why Dillahunty got so upset. So then when you start to dig more, you start realizing, okay, he's not an atheist because he feels like he's so smart. He's not an atheist because he feels like he's more moral than God. He's an atheist because he's struggling with a certain thing.
that he doesn't like, that God doesn't tolerate. And when you start digging far enough, guys, into every atheist, that's exactly what it comes out to be. Both atheists that I interviewed on my show, it's the reason why I stopped doing it. It only took 2 interviews for me to realize it's always something. With Deconstruction Zone, it was because a girl humiliated him in a Bible study and asked him a question about something that he should have known for somebody who claims to be seminary trained. And he didn't have an answer for how Jesus fulfilled a specific messianic prophecy. And from there forward, he was like, you know what? Then he must have not fulfilled any prophecies because I didn't have the answer. His ego was so bruised that he went on a little atheistic tirade. The other guy, the same thing. He was having family issues. He lost his son. He didn't lose his son from Earth. He just lost his family, and he was very angry about it, to the point where he even thought that he could tell the child's mother, you will not teach my kid about God. You don't get to make those determinations. There is always a reason why people leave the faith. Whether they proclaim themselves as atheists or whatever the case may be, there is always a reason why, guys. And there is and whether they want to admit it or not is another matter entirely. But there is always somebody, and there was always a reason. Having said that, guys, thank you guys so incredibly much, man. I got to get out of here because I have a long shift ahead of me and I am not feeling well at all. But you know what? Jesus Christ died and resurrected today. So what more reason to make sure you get through a stream, even if you're sick, even with a respiratory infection, even with phlegm piling up in your chest, even with the cough, even with the body aches. My Messiah is worth it. Your Messiah is worth it. Guys, be safe. Be good. Be blessed. I'll see you when I see you. And guys, please pray that I feel better at least by tomorrow or the day after. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon, man. Later.